Hi everyone, this is Wayne Rivers at Performance Construction Advisors, where we build better contractors. This week I want to talk about the more things change, the more they stay the same. Another old cliche that everybody's heard. I want to report on the second annual Brothers Harriman Private Business Owners Survey from January of 25. So this is fairly fresh information. It came from an article in Family Business Magazine in the January-February issue of 25. Now, we used to be called the Family Business Institute, as you know, and people think, they don't do that anymore. They don't deal with family business things anymore because it's now PCA and they work only with contractors. Well, look, after 35 years of being the Family Business Institute, I'm still interested in any kind of family business information. And don't forget, about half, maybe a little more than half of our members are still family owned. So we didn't just catapult away from the family business industry, you might say. We're still there. We never left. We just wanted to be concentrated on construction companies, whether they are family owned or otherwise privately owned. Now, what does this survey tell us? Well, the more things change. I talked to a Wall Street Journal editor years ago, and I said, why don't you write more about the legacy, the phenomenon of family businesses? He said, they never change. It's kind of always the same. And I was offended. I was, what is he talking about? But as I read these statistics, this analysis from Brothers Harriman, it kind of scares me, because what they're saying is that things may not have changed very much from the time I was writing my first books about family businesses in the 90s and the early 2000s. It's disconcerting at the least. Listen to this. So they did their survey, interviewed 400 family business owners. I'm sorry, private business owners. They weren't all classified as family, but private business owners. And the enterprises had a range of revenue from $50 million to over $1 billion. So that's a pretty good match. If I look at our members, that's the sweet spot where our members are, from $50 million contractors to slightly, well, I guess pushing $2 billion for some of them now, but that's our sweet spot, okay? So this is a good overlap. Number one, what did they find out? 100% of these private business owners have estate plans. Wonderful. You wouldn't believe when I started 36 years ago. Anyway, 100% of these people have estate plans, which is great. But listen to this. This is just a head scratcher. 91% said their estate plans were consistent with their values. What? Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. People sit down with their advisors and they create estate plans to talk about distributing their wealth. And only 91% have self-created plans. Nobody makes you have a certain kind of estate plan. You get to pick. How did this 9% not have a plan that aligns with their values? Really, that's kind of shocking, isn't it? It was quoted in the article as a good thing that 91% have plans that align with their values. Why is it not 100%? I just absolutely cannot understand that. The second thing is, and this is what troubles me. 97% of those people, 97%, so 100% have estate plans, but virtually all of them have not communicated the plans to their families. And now, why do they say they haven't done this? They say, number one, the plan might not be optimal. Well, it might not be. Show me a perfect plan in which every stakeholder gets exactly what they want every single time. Come on. A good plan, any kind of plan is better than no plan at all. And a good plan is better than just an average plan. So I guess what I'm saying is, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. This is something that you should focus on and do the best you can. That's all we can ever do in any endeavor. Do the best you can. The second reason they haven't communicated is they're worried about emotional fallout. Well, let me ask you this. Do you want to go ahead and try to deal with the emotional fallout now? Or do you want to wait 20 or 25 years when the estate plans become apparent? And then what kind of explosive, emotional, if it's my estate plan, I won't be here to have to worry about it. What a cop-out that is. For people who are successful enough to run businesses of this caliber and to create plans that benefit their families in the future, to walk away from potential emotional fallout is just, that's why I'm so troubled. I guess, that's why we started this thing 36 or 37 years ago, whenever it was, to deal with this kind of stuff. And 97% are still worried about the stuff that they were worried about 36 years ago. The pendulum hasn't swung very far, has it, in all these years? Now, next statistic. 99% say they've taken steps to prepare their next generation leaders to take over their enterprises. But 74%, 3 out of 4, say they really don't have solid roles for those next generation successors. They're poorly designed. This is the self-reporting they did. They're poorly designed, or they're not fully communicated. There again, 36, 37 years ago, we started this thing to combat this kind of stuff. The survey says that estate plans are about ownership, and they are. Estate plans don't begin to address the business side of the equation. Who's gonna manage the business? Who's going to lead the business? Who's going to be in charge of finances? Who's going to be in charge of business development? Who's going to be in charge of operations and execution? Who's going to be in charge of customer satisfaction? Who's going to be in charge of technology? Who's going to be in charge of people? Somebody has to do all those jobs, those unforgiving day-to-day grind jobs in any business, construction or not. Estate plans address ownership of assets only. They don't address how to sustain a construction company or any other kind of company. The next thing the article said was the issues of management and ownership are kind of blurred. Kind of. I mean, that's what the whole report says. So I guess the reason I'm telling you about this article that I read in Family Business Magazine, what is disturbing? It's disturbing that the pendulum has not moved farther in my working lifetime, even though I feel like we've been writing about this and blogging about this and speaking about this and writing books about this for ages and ages. So what do you need to take away from this as a contractor? Certainly address the ownership issues of your construction company and your other assets as well. But focus on 3 other things. Somebody's got to manage the company, day-to-day, task to task, department to department, person to person. Somebody's got to lead the company. Leadership, there's ownership, there's management, and there's leadership, and they're all different things. And then the final thing is communications. So we have just sent out a few proposals for succession plans for contractors here in the first part of 2025, and in every single one of them, we have a deliverable for once the succession plan is created and approved, communicate the plan to the stakeholders. That means to your senior leaders as well as your employees, because they want, don't believe me now, they want to know. I talked to a contractor just yesterday that talked about a high potential 41-year-old manager, and this president of the company said to me, that person deserves to know that we're doing succession planning so that he can see where his career is going to align with us. And I thought that was insightful on his part. That person deserves to know, because that person is thinking about his or her career. And if that person can't see that career lining up with your mission and vision for the company, then that potentially creates quite a problem. So if you want to hold on to those high potential people, you've got to align their personal missions with your company mission. And that's what succession planning is all about. Don't forget the comms. This is Wayne Rivers at Performance Construction Advisors, where we build better contractors.